Sandra never thought her life would become the kind of story people whispered about, the kind that was too painful to believe but too real to ignore. From the outside, everything looked perfect: a beautiful home, a charming husband named Chike, smiles in public, and the illusion of love. But behind closed doors, her life was a slow-burning nightmare, one that began not with fists or insults, but with silence. At first, it was the way Chike looked at her, cold, calculating, as though she were something to be handled, not loved. Then came the subtle isolation. Friends stopped calling. Family visits grew rare. Every outing required his approval, every word she spoke was monitored. He made her question her worth, her sanity, her voice. And when the manipulation no longer satisfied him, the violence began. It wasn't sudden. It crept in like a shadow at dusk, growing darker by the day. A shove during an argument. A slammed door that made her flinch. A cruel comment that cut deeper than a blade. And then, one night, it was a slap. Just one. Chike apologized. Promised it would never happen again. And like many women who loved too deeply, Sandra forgave him. But the slap became a punch. The punch became bruises. The bruises became broken bones and lost confidence. She learned to smile with cracked lips, to cover her fear with makeup, to lie to her neighbors and her own reflection. She told herself he was stressed, that it was her fault, that if she just tried harder, loved better, he'd change. He never did. The breaking point came on a cold Tuesday morning, the kind where the sky was as grey as her heart. Chike had thrown a plate at her, missed her head by inches, and screamed so loud that the baby in her arms cried until he was hoarse. Something inside her snapped, not from fear, but from clarity. This was not love. This was war. And she was tired of bleeding. Sandra didn't leave that day, not physically. But her mind escaped. She started planning. Quietly. Carefully. She began saving spare change. She reached out to her old friend Lizzie through a secret Facebook account. She packed a bag and hid it in the closet. For weeks, she pretended. Smiled. Cooked Chike's meals. Let him think he still owned her. Until one night, while he was snoring drunk on the couch, she picked up her sleeping child, grabbed the bag, and walked out. It was raining. It felt like the sky was crying with her. She didn't know where she was going, only that she would never return. Lizzie took her in. The next day, she filed a police report. She cried through every word but didn't stop. The bruises spoke louder than her voice ever could. The road to healing wasn't straight. It twisted through nightmares, therapy sessions, and moments when she almost went back. She missed the routine, the false sense of safety. But she reminded herself, Chike didn't love her. He controlled her. And there's a big difference between love and ownership. Sandra began to speak at local women's shelters. She told her story not with shame, but with fire. She joined a support group, met women who bore the same invisible scars, and started to rebuild. Her child laughed again. She laughed again. Slowly, she found herself. One day, someone recorded her speech. It went viral. The world heard her pain, her power. Messages flooded in from strangers who said, "Your story saved me." And that's when she knew, everything she endured, every scar, every tear, it had purpose. Sandra now runs a foundation for domestic abuse survivors. She holds the hands of women who are where she once was and whispers, "You are not alone." Because she wasn't just a victim. She was a survivor. A warrior. A light in the darkness. And this is not the end of her story. It's the beginning.